Dave Woodyard. I'm a retired United Methodist pastor, and I'm on staff at the Powell Church. I visit people, I write letters, I have a class on Tuesday morning, and I do other odd jobs and have a good time. I've chosen to read to you Psalm 1. The book of Psalms has 150 psalms in them, and those 150 psalms are broken up into 5 different books. And the first book is for Psalm 1 through 41, and the first psalm is kind of a prelude to that. And those 41 psalms are more personal psalms than the rest of them are. The rest of them deal with Israel and Egypt and Assyria and Babylon and all the politics and all the kinds of things that were going on. But the first 41 look at us personally. And when I read Psalm 1, I had this vision of myself as a child getting ready to go to school. And I was thinking about how I'd be in a different place, I'd be with different people, I'd have different experiences, and my parents were sitting me down and saying, okay, David, these are our expectations of you when you get out there. And when I read Psalm 1, I kind of hear King David trying to put into words the expectations that God has for us. I'm reading this psalm from a version called The Voice, translated by Thomas Nelson and published in about 2012, I believe. It says, God's blessings follow you and await you at every turn. When you don't follow the advice of those who delight in wicked schemes, that's good. And when you avoid sin's highway, that's good. And when judgment and sarcasm beckon you and you refuse, that's good. For you, God's eternal word is your happiness. You are like a tree planted by flowing, cool streams of water. They never run dry. Your fruit ripens in its time. Your leaves never fade or curl in the summer's hot sun. No matter what you do, you prosper. But for those who focus on sin, the story is very different. They're like a fallen husk of wheat tossed by open wind, left deserted and alone. In the end, the wicked will fall in judgment. The guilty will be separated from the innocent. Their road suddenly will end in death. Yet the journey of the righteous has been charted by our eternal God. As a Christian, I believe that God made the decision to put on human flesh and come and live among us as Jesus the Christ. God did that so that God's expectations of us might become more clear as Jesus lived and taught and did miracles and did all those kinds of things. And during his ministry, at one point he said, you know, if you really want to do what God expects you, I got 2 commands for you. And he pulled 2 commands out of the Old Testament. One of them saying, love God with your whole self. And the other one says, love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. Now, those 2 sound pretty simple until you try to live them daily. Then they become a lot more difficult. And it's so very encouraging that Jesus also said that regardless of where we are on that, whether we're doing a real good job of it or we're having a lot of trouble with it, God still loves us. So it's good talking with you. Thank you for listening to this.